buying a place like this, it's about the process of building, being artistic with the building, using natural materials, which I'm really interested in. It's about learning as I go and experimenting.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Alternative House channel. Today I'm in Portugal and I met Kirsty. After traveling for a while, she decided to settle down in Portugal and built here small oasis, and today she's gonna give us a tour.
Let me take you inside and show you my house.
Yeah? How big is it?
It's on the inside, it's 4 by 5 meters.
Okay.
So 20 square meters.
Yeah.
And then the walls are 1/2 meter thick. So,
Wow, that's super insulation.
Yeah. Well, it's actually not insulation, it's thermal mass. So
Yep.
if you're a natural building geek like I am, the heat of the day absorbs into the stone, or the heat of your wood stove absorbs into the stone, and then the thermal mass of the wall radiates it out later on. So in the summer, it kind of stays cool for a while, but if the sun is beating down on it constantly, then it gets really oven-like inside by the evening. Whereas if it was insulated, it would keep the heat out or in, which you need like straw bales or something for that.
The structure was here, you just renovated it.
Yes, the structure was here. I've pointed it. I've added the window.
Yeah.
The roof is the same. There was a concrete floor inside, which I've built up. And then all of this was just dirt. And so recently, I've actually built out all this stonework. I just filled this gravel in the other day. And then behind you, I've got some pieces of wood for building a pergola that hopefully I'll grow grapes on or something like that. So, yeah, so it looks a lot different now than it did when I first bought the place, that's for sure.
Right. And on the roof you have solar panels? How much you have?
Yep,
Electricity?
that's a good question. I'm not an electricity nerd. I don't really know much. So let's see, there's 3 panels. I think they're 400 watts each. And then inside I've got a system that I think is a 1600 watt inverter.
Okay.
I have a battery of some capacity that I don't know. And I think that's about all I know about solar. But it serves me well. It's really sunny in Portugal. And I only really get in trouble if I have maybe like 4 days without any sun. Okay. And that's only because I also run a fridge.
Yeah.
If I didn't have the fridge to keep going, I wouldn't care so much. I could just light some candles or use some flashlights. But I also have some backup batteries that are portable. So yeah, it's a small system, but it does me fine.
Yeah. So last couple of weeks you were struggling a bit?
No, because the sun seemed to always come out at the exact right moment. So I really only need about a half a day of sun to see me through to the next day. Okay. So you can have the system going all the way down, get a half a day, and then it goes back up again. And I only have a small fridge, like a half-size fridge, so it's not using too much power.
Yeah.
So maybe you have to be a little bit careful here and there when the sun isn't shining. But when the sun is blasting like it does in the summer, I don't even think twice about power. Yeah. This is the original door, painted it blue. It used to be this really weird green, and then I added this little porthole window in as well.
Like a boat.
Yeah, so let's open the window up actually. It's a nice day. Welcome. It's small. It's small, but I've packed a lot of stuff in here, I think. So this is, I was calling it the creepy corner for a really long time. It's now a lot more organized than it was. So I've built this little battery shelf recently. It's where I keep the tools that I use the most often. Yeah. And then I've got this giant backup battery down there. Yeah. And a couple other sort of lithium batteries that are portable. Yeah. So that thing sees me through when it hasn't been sunny for a while.
2 kilowatt as well, no?
I think that's a little over 2 kilowatt, yeah.
Yeah, from Blue Yeti, I think.
Yeah. And then this is just a clay wall. And this soaks in the heat from the stove in addition to the stone walls. And it helps just kind of, when the fire goes out, it helps radiate the heat out. So I built this thing. And it was also to protect the solar from the heat of the stove. Yeah. But it doesn't really radiate so much out from the sides, so it's actually fine.
And so this building was just like a square, and there was each wall, everything was inside.
Yeah,
you built by yourself.
So this wall here, it's been pointed obviously, but it was basically there's walls behind you that you'll see in a minute, but yeah, just stone walls, the whole thing.
But I like it how
but with clay.
It's exposed.
Yeah, me too. So I wanted to I didn't want an entirely stone building because I want to kind of go lighter. So this is clay. Yeah. And you see these kind of marks on here. It's just that the next layer of clay, the final plaster, sticks onto it. So nothing in here is actually finished. You see like all these cross marks. It's all going to eventually be clayed or limed over.
Yeah.
And I wanted the color to be maybe lighter than what the stone is.
Okay.
So I wanted some stone,
Yeah.
but I also want some clay and some lime as well. Yeah, but I think coming in and like completely covering over the stone would have been really sad.
Yeah.
So I've got a little bit there, and then I've got a little bit in the kitchen as well.
Yeah. So it's still everything is under construction.
This is
50%.
I think it's going to be under construction for the next 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, this whole buying a place like this, it's about the process of building, being artistic with the building, using natural materials, which I'm really interested in, and yeah, just enjoying the whole process. So it's not really about the finished product. I'm definitely not in a rush. It's about learning as I go and experimenting, and yeah. So the building was just an empty shell. It had a concrete floor. So I've built up the floor. It's got cork underneath there as well, which is a really amazing material. We're in Portugal, so it makes sense to use cork. And then I put a lot of thought into the design. I didn't want to just point everything and do all the walls and then fill it up with stuff. I wanted to kind of really build structures into the house. I gave it a lot of thought before I actually laid everything out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have a kitchen?
Yeah, it's small but mighty. So I've got my little greenhouse. It's the season to get things going. So I've got some tomato plants on the go.
And the window, it's something new, right?
The window's new. Yeah, I had somebody make the window for me, but I did all of the work making the window whole. And I only put this in recently. So I've been living in what I was calling the cave house for many years without too much light. So this is a big change. And it's really wonderful to have it. But it was a long time in the making because I was quite terrified about ripping stones out of the wall and rebuilding it because I've never done that before. But since it's just a one-story house, I had everything propped and everything, and it was intimidating. But when I finally finished it, I realized, like, what was I so worried about? It wasn't that big of a deal. But I've never made a window before, so I didn't want to make this my first ever window right on the front of my house. But I think for other projects, I'm definitely going to try to make a window and try to learn that as well.
Now you know how it works.
Sort of.
Oh, you have seen.
Yeah. I don't have the right tools to make a window, but maybe I will in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all pretty basic. I get my water from a tap outside, and then I just bring it in. I boil it up to do dishes. But I do have a pipe that goes out and away down the land, so I can empty my dishwater there. Yeah, just the usual stuff. Small fridge, some storage.
So you decided not to have water, or still it's in the planning?
It's in planning. So okay. I'm actually working on the shower right now. Yeah. And so I've got pipes coming into the house already for the shower. And eventually, or maybe at the same time as I do that, I'll bring some pipes in over there as well and find a way to snake them around and then have a sink, a tap at the sink. So there will be indoor plumbing at some point, but it's maybe a year away, let's say. Or maybe I'll surprise myself and work on it. Mm-hmm. I'm always switching focus on the projects I do. And I work on a lot of things at the same time sometimes. So perhaps indoor plumbing will be coming in sooner rather than later. I feel like a lot of people that build tiny houses stick a mezzanine in, which is great to maximize the space, but they stick the bed on top. And I can't think of anything worse than having to go up and down a ladder or like a sketchy staircase every time you need to go for a pee or every time you're waking up in the morning and going to bed. So I wanted to put my bed on the bottom. And so up there is, right now, it's storage. I've got loads of wood up there. Eventually, I'll probably frame up some kind of cupboard spaces, and I would love to have a sleeping space up there in the apex of the roof. But right now, yeah, it's a dumping ground for all of the stuff. This is why I need to build a tool shed.
Yeah. And you built it with help by someone?
No, so this is a project that I worked on while I was living in a friend's house. And it's all timber framed. Mm-hmm. So there's no nails. It's all pegs and joins. And so each piece is it fits together like a puzzle. So I made all the pieces at my friend's house. And then when I was ready to move in, or when I was ready to assemble it all, I brought it here piece by piece, stuck it together. It took me 5 months to build it. This is where I do my work.
Where all videos being made?
Yeah, that's where the editing happens, on my very inappropriate office chair. I should probably get myself a proper chair because I spend a lot of time sitting there. But yeah, so it's small. Eventually I'll have, proper kitchen cabinets and stuff, and maybe a real kitchen, that is nicer, and maybe my desk will be an actual desk. But for now, it all serves a purpose and it's fine. This was the kitchen, this was the office, and this is the living room. So...
With vintage sofa?
Yep, just found from a friend. They weren't using it anymore. It's actually got a pull-out bed as well, but that's not going to work so well.
Guest bed.
Yeah, except for there's nowhere for it to go. Maybe if I tilt everything this way and, but it's probably a bit too big for the space, so it might be temporary, but I like it. I like it for now, and it beats sitting on a plastic chair all the time. So this is where I still have the original walls. I haven't yet ventured. I'm working on the place corner by corner. So the creepy corner is done. The shower I'm working on now. The kitchen's kind of in progress. I haven't ventured in here yet. So these are the kind of the way the walls were with the clay in between the stones. And eventually I'll probably render it with clay and straw for insulation, a little extra insulation, and add some like shelves and things in there. There's a space for a shelf in the corner, some shelving here.
And that was your only opening, only window when you didn't have your window?
So there's actually 4 of those.
Okay, for ventilation.
No, I think that it's something to do with either when they were building the houses, they used those holes for scaffolding, or it could be something to do with building a second floor off of those holes, so you put pieces through. Yeah. When I first got in here, when I got the place, there was actually a weird wooden structure on this side coming out of those holes. So there's one there. There's one in the kitchen that's filled with a insulating plastic bag. Yeah. I ripped apart the wall there and put my flute through another hole. Yeah. And then there's another hole that's been turned into this window in my shower.
And here is the shower in the building process.
Yeah, so it's a work in progress, and you can see it in action. I'm working on liming the shower. So building up the walls with lime. And then eventually I'll finish it with a technique called Tattalact, which is a Moroccan technique for waterproofing lime. Yeah. I've done a course in it, but it definitely needs a lot more practice. And this is a pretty massive space to do Tattalact on. So I'm going to have to get a couple friends in there and we'll all just go for it.
And nice tiles.
Yeah,
because we are in Portugal.
I'm not sure, but I guess that's the thing when you have a tiny house, you can it's like 1 meter squared. So I can afford to buy maybe nicer tiles if I'm just doing such a small space than I can if I'm doing a huge area. And then this wall here is actually clay. Mm-hmm. So within there's a whole bunch of pieces of wood going horizontally, and then you build the clay on top of that. And I've recently done the final plaster, and eventually I'll finish that with maybe a clay paint of some kind.
Here will be just a bathroom, and the toilet will still build outside.
The toilet will be outside, and I've actually just had a thought of maybe making it bigger and sticking a bathtub out there as well. Yeah. In here will just be the shower, but then I also have an outlet pipe for a bathroom sink. I might end up putting a drinking water. So that's my drinking water just there.
Yeah. So you're filling up it from that spring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I pour the blue things into the top of that. And I might end up putting a smaller vessel in the bathroom for brushing teeth and things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for showing it around.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed looking at my house. And I have a YouTube channel of my own called Portugal from Scratch. So if anyone's interested in natural building or living in Portugal, permaculture farming, all that kind of stuff, check it out.
Are you doing weekly or monthly?
I actually used to publish every Friday, and now I'm just sort of releasing videos as I finish the work. Takes the pressure off, and so I might do about 6 a month.
If you want to see more about the land itself, there will be the second video, which you can find in the description below. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Cheers!